Good morning. Thank you for being here today. I got to start with something that is the critical issue here. First of all, I'm not here to fight Mr. Sabri's battles. We all know he's not only capable of fighting his own battles, he's very good at it. I'm here to start to frame this issue because I think, despite all the work you're doing, I think a lot of you are missing it. The bottom line is, if public health were actually the true standard that the City of Minneapolis is valuing, if that standard of public health was actually a value and of critical importance to Mayor Frey and his administration, frankly, after over 6 years of having encampment after encampment on their own property, withholding basic hygiene, basic public health, such as bathrooms, hygiene stations, basic care that we all deserve. And frankly, the Minnesota Department of Health provides guidance to stipulate how do you promote health and prevent disease in encampments. That's in your packet. It's also accessible online. For some reason, and I'm really putting this on the mayor, I know a lot of his staff. And whether you let me to say this or not, they're trying to do their very best. And that goes from everybody from Public Works to policy aides in his office. But for some reason, the mayor refuses to comply with this basic mandate that other cities across the country do. So the truth is, again, if the public health was the litmus test, then frankly the city should sue itself. My name is Sheila Delaney. I am a homelessness and housing innovation practitioner. Many of you know me. I've had contracts under the Frey administration to address unsheltered homelessness. And I'm just really here today, again, not to fight his battle. He does that very well. I've known Mr. Sabri for a lot of years. I'm here because I want better for all of us. And by all of us, I mean all neighbors, housed or not, and that should go without saying. The laser focus of the Frey administration on one site, this site, and not on the many encampments that are on the city property. And you have a map in your packet about the current encampments. And by the way, the mayor told you a bit ago that there were 27 people outside. There's a lot more than that, even by their own database. The essence of the mayor's so-called strategy is displacement and humiliation. I'm here to talk about all the concerns that arise when this happens, and I'm going to share a better way that the city has conducted and that is used as best practice in many cities around the country. So let's get this out of the way, and you've heard it from everybody who's a department head. When you ask them what is their approach to encampments, the very first thing they say, encampments aren't decent places for people to live. As if anyone wants an encampment to exist. Amen. No one wants to see anyone living in an encampment. It's almost like they forget to finish their thought. My passion is to pursue justice and compassion in practical, concrete ways. Some of the things I've done is I worked with community and people who were living outdoors to create a Viva Village. It's a national model for a low barrier shelter, and it works. We've helped hundreds of people that many people deem service resistant get into safety, get treatment, get medically assisted treatment, get harm reduction supplies, and get housing. It works. And we're not the only ones. I want to be very clear. Many practitioners around the country are doing a great job. And sometimes the city does a great job. Most recently, when a board and lodge and a shelter had to close, I worked with community, Hennepin County, City of Minneapolis, to rehouse 100 people in 4 months. It's very possible. Do not be baffled when they say this is a complicated issue. It has to do with person by person, respecting them as autonomous beings and engaging them in a way that they can trust. I have seen people with things such as first-degree murder charges get into housing and thrive. It is possible. That is what works. Community-based work is what works. And people aren't problems. The mayor knows this. I've talked to him many times about this, Many people smarter than I have shown him these best practices. His own audit office has shown him these best practices. But he chooses a different path. He wastes over millions of dollars chasing people around, bulldozing their tents, throwing away their vital records, their belongings, their driver's license, their birth certificates, the birth certificates of their children, keepsakes that they can never get back, and he throws them away. The city's own data proves that what it's doing isn't working. It's in your packet. Moving people around only to please people who don't want to see encampments. And again, no one wants anyone in an encampment. Moving them around from place to place to place. It's not a pathway out of homelessness. It's a revolving door of trauma. And when the mayor does this, he's responsible for the ripple effects. He is responsible for the suffering that follows for everyone. Because displacement without solution doesn't end encampments or homelessness, it just spreads the crisis block by block, neighborhood by neighborhood. I supported Jacob Frey for two decades to elections, pardon me. But today it's clear he's not a leader, he's not a problem solver. Some people call him a little bully. He thinks if he kicks people hard enough and long enough, the public won't understand what's going on. He's trying to blame our most vulnerable neighbors for his own failure, and he tries to paint the progressive majority in the same light. Just because they want compassionate solutions does not mean they want encampments. Again, it would be really great if you could all write this down. No one wants anyone to live in an encampment, no one. However, each of us needs a place to land. We need a place to build from, and we need a place to feel part of. Until there are sufficient alternatives, please listen. When people with nowhere else to go will be outside. And we don't need to choose. We don't need to choose. Cruelty does not create safety. Science-backed, research-backed, practice-backed, trauma-informed care works. It's prudent. It's proven across the country. It's proven where I live in New Orleans. It's proven in Jefferson Parish, a red county. It sustains positive results. Last year I delivered my presentation to the City Council about safe outdoor spaces and other ways people are addressing this issue. It's in your packet. They asked me, what do we do? How do we solve this? And bottom line, it's elections. And we're here. We're here. We are prioritizing petty political games over the lives of these people. And I understand why the department heads step in line. I get it. I have bills to pay too. We need leaders that embrace success, proven solutions, and who are humble enough to defer to the wisdom of community, professionals, and people most impacted. Here's this strong mayor with a $1.8 billion budget, and he wants you to think that this crisis is about this guy who simply says, you can stay here. I've known Mr. Sabri my entire adult life. He's not a social worker. He's not a strong mayor. He's just not going to move him along. Are there issues with encampments? I've said it over and over and over, but they can be addressed when resources aren't withheld. According to the own city's dashboards right now, there are hundreds of people on their property who aren't receiving hygiene. It's not just absurd. This is an insult to our collective intelligence. Now I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Sabri.
My name is Hamoudi Sabri. I'm a real estate developer around the neighborhood. We have a lot of properties around here. And I am just going to tell you this. About 10 days ago, I was in New York demonstrating for, this is actually, I have a daughter who's very active. Her name is Noor. And this is Khalil, who got arrested. I was with him too. So I am here just for the homeless. I believe they're abused. And the reason they're here is they're being kicked around a lot. So I don't need really to speak about that. The facts speak for itself. Go to 2nd Avenue, go to the homeless, come in the morning and see the drug dealers and all the activities. So the homeless is an issue, yes. Now, they're here as a hub. It's easy for people to find them, to feed them, to help them, to medical them. So that's a place for them to be. So for them to keep kicking him around, they're trying to kick it here, they have not been successful. The mayor will never be successful. Everything he stated, I don't think it's gonna work. This is a privately owned. He doesn't have a court order. He did not clean inside the camp today. He just cleaned the alley, so which we like. We've been trying to work with them for garbage cans so they could avoid all that. And then they keep talking about the commissioner's right behind you, you know, about the nuisance and all that stuff there. These are homeless. Their livelihood is what they got with them. That's what they own. So with all the $22 billion spent on homeless in this country, you still have homeless walking around. So what is the city doing? They just keep moving him around. So I'm not gonna throw them around for Fry to shift him around, because that's all he's been doing. He's shifting these guys around from one place to another. Have I seen any treatments? No, there's a lot of people care. I see a lot of care here, but there an issue needs to be resolved. And if it doesn't, I think maybe Trump will come and resolve it for us.
You know, sometimes I wonder if Mayor Fry enjoys being humiliated. We're in this Groundhog Day. We chase people off to one place, over them from the next place to the next place. People, their caseworkers can't find them. These people who are so much more experienced than I am, they tell this story over and over and over. Another thing that's happening is winter's coming, and here we are again. This seems to be this endless cycle of kicking people around is one of the only things this administration seems to be able to do effectively. You know, the thing is, these practices inflict something called moral injury. And that's when we have a job or we have a role and we have to do things we don't believe in. And I've been doing this work for a really long time. I talk to city staff. I know their hearts. And many of them don't feel good about it. Many people who have left have a lot to say about it. The bottom line is, when Mayor Fry started and I supported him, he really had heart. He had a vision. But that seems to have gone. And so it kind of breaks my heart. But the bottom line is, we don't have to do this. There's so many other ways I can talk to you. These are my dinosaurs. I can tell you everything about what other cities do. I can tell you what has worked here. At the Near North encampment, that was an encampment that was there for years. Then when we had a service tent just for 10 days, people who other people said didn't want services, they started to get to know providers. They were allowed to say yes, to say no. They were allowed to say what they needed. By the 2 months later, there are only 2 people left in that encampment. It works. So I leave you with these questions. Why won't this administration follow the Minnesota Department of Health guidance? Why won't the mayor direct resources to proven solutions that are better for everyone, housed and unhoused? Why are they bound and determined to continue this practice of displacement and humiliation? Don't we want better for our neighbors and for ourselves? Imagine all of us here, and I literally mean here. Imagine that we don't have to be here. Imagine we're just enjoying this morning. We're pursuing our vision of happiness. We could be in school, we could be in work, we can be in a tiny home community, we can be in treatment, we can be in a healthcare facility. But we're living in community, pursuing our version of happiness. Our homeless issue is not to the scale of other cities. It is addressable. And I just want it addressed. I know I'm going to catch a lot of arrows, as the young people say, but I don't care anymore. I live in New Orleans now. I came up here because I need you guys to understand the facts of this issue. These are not my opinions. So, it's not a baffling situation. Until we demand better than deflection and humiliation, we're going to be in this Groundhog Day. Any questions?
What happens now with the city council?
Well,
Have a special meeting
tomorrow.
and what's your plan?
Well, it's not my plan, it's Mr. Sabri's, but I think Mr. Sabri had said, I think all of a sudden he gets shy. What he told me is if the mayor of Minneapolis or the health commissioner could come and look people in the eye, and like these excellent street outreach workers do, like from Avivo, from AICDC, Southside Harm Reduction, and many more, look them in the eye and offer them something and let them choose if it's a good fit for them. And I think, Mr. Sabri, I'm going to ask you, if the mayor or the health commissioner came down and offered these people real options, and I'm not talking about congregate shelter beds, it doesn't work for a lot of people. I guess ask yourselves, how many of you would go inside and sleep next to a stranger with all your belongings? How many of you would leave your dog outside? To go to Viva Village, you can bring your dog, your turtle, your, what was it, bird? No kidding. If he would come down here, Mr. Sabri, or his representatives, I'm sorry, I'm a little nervous. I'm very emotional about this issue. It just really hurts me. If he were to come down here and offer people, would you work with him to get people where they need to be?
Absolutely, I will. We had a meeting that they did not want the media to join the meeting. We came, 3 directors with a commissioner, and we agreed to work together because I was willing to have a hub with help with them so they could actually provide like they did in North Loop. But this mayor have standards. You know, North Loop gets treated different than Lake Street. So that, I touch that. I have properties in North Loop and I got properties in Lake Street. So when Lake Street is here, different world, completely different world, different attitude, different way of services. They're limited, so they're right there. You could ask them. So they did not come through.
If he were to come down, or if he were to say, I'll pretend I'm press, hey, I've got some beds for you here.
I would be happy to work.
Okay.
I mean,
there you go.
I'm not here to, I mean, look at the camp, Fox News said dirty. Okay, what do you expect from a homeless? But look at it. Since they know that
when you
the
say
city
a
was gonna
homeless, do you
active,
mean the
look
people
how
or the
clean it is.
condition?
They did it by themselves. I didn't tell them to do anything. We came yesterday. I haven't been here for a while because I was in New York. Look how clean it is. And they all work. So they have a hair to society. Give them a chance.
Well, I think because they
You can't
value
just let
the
them
fact
be
that they're
like
not
that.
going to be pushed
That's
out, because
abusive.
that's usually what happens. Any other questions?
What are your guys' response to, the city coming in and saying that they found, hazardous, sharp,
Oh, yeah.
paraphernalia?
That's all song and dance. This is the commissioner. He's just got
Oh,
a guitar
I
he
have
plays
another
with.
answer.
Don't listen to
I have
him. He's a
another
liar.
answer.
This guy is
No,
a liar.
that's- I don't-
I'm calling him a liar. You're
I
not.
am not.
He's not saying the truth.
I am not calling him a liar. I think every encampment do you see trash containers? Do you see hygiene? Do you see a bathroom? Do you see hand washing stations? Do you see sharps containers?
That's why he's lying. That's why I'm saying he's a liar.
So yeah,
he didn't
they're
come through
there.
with anything he said he's gonna
That's
do.
real. This is the thing. Let's all agree to the facts. People are in encampments if they feel there's nowhere else for them to be. And a lot of things happen when you're in that situation. People have needs that are unaddressed. So this sort of I don't know what happened to our culture where all of a sudden we're Puritans and we're shocked that people use drugs. Yeah, some people use drugs. Most drug use are in houses and apartments. House people use drugs too. We want people to get help. Things like a Vivo Village work. So yeah, I mean, should Mr. Sabri be responsible for what is literally the responsibility of the city of Minneapolis when the city of Minneapolis doesn't do it in its own land where there are encampments?
And I just want to add one more thing. They just go around the neighborhood. I have a lot of properties. There's actually needles
Everywhere.
in every property I own. Everything he's talking about, they're everywhere. These guys are homeless. Just think, where are they going to go to the bathroom? Where are they going to do their drugs? How are they going to do this stuff? Where are they going to eat? I mean, they need to live. They're humans.
And the thing is,
So they're not being...
I don't
These
think...
guys are abusing, I mean, especially the commissioner, by not providing from the health department. The state tells him, give him containers. There's no containers. Well, let's get, why North
What
Loop
we're
got a
referring
special
to
treatment?
is,
How come North Loop had everything. Everything. They had the medicine.
No, that was because that was a different time. In 2023, the Fry administration decided not to provide sharps. This is an example of an encampment on city property. This is in your packet. This is a map of how many encampments there are right now, the majority on city property. They are not receiving these things either. I'm not saying this is great, neither is Mr. Sabri. I have known him forever. Again, not a social worker. He didn't say, come over here, I have a shelter, I'm doing a Vivo Village. He said, I'm not gonna push you around like you've been pushed around again and again and again. That's it. So if I'm gonna call you out. Mayor Fry just gave Mr. Hamoudi is a Australian Shepherd. He loves to have a project. So now this lawsuit is a project. But could we, instead of putting all this energy into this lawsuit, could he take all this energy and direct it to the encampments that he is literally in charge of? Could he provide those same things he's insisting Mr. Sabri is not providing? Could he?
Then he have to have 7 council to vote for him. He can't just do by himself. So
Any other questions? I'm sorry, I keep on. A lot of your questions are probably in this packet.
What type of like outreach has this?
We've done some. I don't live here, but I'm here for work a lot.
He did a lot.
And I'm not working right now. This is my self-care. They've been in there, but the reason that it works really well when there's a service tent, and it can be for just a short duration, sometimes as little as 5 days, is people get used to people and they begin to trust and want to listen to what they're offering. So right now, and I talked with Enrique about this, there's a catch as catch can. They come when they can. They've got all these other encampments. So we have a Vivo coming, but when you're doing this hit or miss, it's very difficult. It is easier when people are stable and you know where to find them. So I think it's great. This opioid ban is great. Mind you, the city's had this money since 2023. It's the end of the summer, yada, yada, yada. Same story, same story. But it's good. I think it's awesome. I want to see more of it. And again, I think the people of the staff in the city, if led with compassion, will act with compassion.
How many people do you have living here?
You know, I want to just reframe the way you're asking a question. He doesn't have anybody living here. He's merely not pushing them off. There's about 50 to 60 people. If you talk to the food providers, they deliver about 75 meals a day. People know to come and get lunches and stuff here.
So people are sleeping here overnight. So
Yes.
they would be
Yeah,
living
just like they are in any other encampment. Yeah.
within they're living here.
Temporarily.
Encampments are temporary. They're not fit for human habitation.
Sheila, I was wondering if you know of the shelter availability as of 10:26 this morning.
No, what is it?
Men full, youth full, 4 total available for women.
Can you check with Avivo and see what they have? Thanks. Did you guys catch that? Speaks for itself.
What role do you think the county plays?
County has a huge role. The county has funneled the majority of its homelessness response in partnership with the Office to End Homelessness. They've been doing a great job. Did you guys see Strib? Great article today about the county's really working on it. Their Streets to Housing team, they basically recruited the best of the best. Not the best, there's many, and they are so committed, they will do anything to get people housed. It's really beautiful. I want to see more leadership across the board. I'm here, I'm taking a risk. Mayor Fry is really retaliatory, but I live 1,000 miles away, so.
But the retaliation that he does, not having garbage. I just got a news today, if I pay for it. I
Okay.
said, okay, well, I'll pay for it, but the liability. So they will start giving me, so they're like setting me up.
But anyway, you guys are just doing your job. I hope you get this. Me personally, I see the good in people. I begged Mayor Fry to implement the solutions that work as a regular practice. In fact, he had this great staff person, Peter, who initiated his own sort of service tent over in Seward. I helped him, but he did a great job. It cost total $90,000 versus the millions of dollars of your money that the mayor spends on just moving people around.